Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the Calbright College Board of Trustees meeting to order this morning on January 14th at 9:18 a.m. And before the meeting gets started, I'd like the board liaison to review the meeting procedures and protocols. But before I do that, I have to get to my favorite part of the meeting. Okay. Now we can ask Terry to review the meeting procedures and protocols.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us. I am Terry Lucas, the board liaison at Calbright College. You can follow our meeting agenda on Board Docs. The link can be found on our website, which is calbright.org/board. For attendees who wish to make public comment in person, please fill out a public comment card and submit to me. For attendees who participate remotely, please use the Q&A feature on Zoom to address the board for up to 3 minutes. Public comment should be used to address today's agenda. A reminder that this board meeting is being recorded. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry, and please call the roll.
Love Adu. Absent. Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Present.
Maria Blaze.
Present.
Adrian Brown.
Present.
Lillian Corral.
Present.
Amy Costa.
Here.
Ricardo de la Fuente. Absent. Tom Epstein.
Here.
Pam Haynes.
Here.
Lieutenant Governor Kounalakis. Absent. Harry Legrand.
Here.
Jesse Melgar.
Here.
Jennifer Perry.
Here and not demure, according to Pam.
Bill Rawlings.
Present.
Syrian Villavicencio. Absent. Blas Villalobos. Absent. Joseph Williams.
Present.
We have a quorum, President Aguinaldo.
Thank you very much, Terry. Now we will proceed with the Pledge of Allegiance. Our newest trustee, Trustee Jesse Melgar, will you please lead us in the pledge?
Happily, Madam President, please join me in standing. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Melgar. We'll now discuss the order of the agenda. I have one update to announce. We will be moving information and reports item 5.1 to be presented following the CEO report. Does anyone else have any comments on the rest of the agenda? All right, hearing none, we will move into my president's report. Good morning, fellow Board of Trustees, Calbright community, and members of the public. As we open this first meeting of 2026, I want to take a moment to ground us. We are each a crucial part of effectuating one of the most remarkable transformations in California's higher education history. 7 years ago, Calbright was an idea on paper, a startup with a mission that some said was too ambitious to execute or even attempt. We heard that reaching adult learners was difficult and certainly hard to imagine how it could be done at scale. So it brings me great pleasure to start this year to see Calbright's hard work bear fruit. I will let President Menon share more on the good news from last week and Governor Newsom's proposed budget investment in Calbright. So I want to focus this morning on the leadership and the talent of the team who brought the college to this point. I know I don't have to tell them how hard of a journey it has been. Still, their work, expertise, dedication, and most importantly, commitment to keeping students at the center of it all. They've tested, all they've piloted and built must be acknowledged. Calbright's leadership team and incredible faculty and staff have worked in the trenches to build what is truly a new model of education from the ground up. If I could take a moment to name them all now, I would. I'm taking this proposed budget investment as the state's way of saying, we see you, we need you, and we believe in what you've built. Support like this doesn't happen by accident. It happened because this leadership team, under the direction of our president and CEO, have been relentless. If you are not familiar with the names Vice President of Government Relations, Jenny Johnson, and Chief Financial Officer, Ed Lee, and so many more leaders at Calbright, you'll be hearing from them more and more as they continue to lead the team this spring into budget advocacy and showing why the college is now a powerhouse of faculty, student support specialists, engineers, and more who have built a meaningful education and career pathway for the working parents, those needing to change careers, and all the Californians without easy access to education who depend on us. Together, I know the Calbright team and community, including the students, are ready to show policymakers and the wider California higher education, workforce, and business communities why the education and job skills pathways this college provides are like nothing else out there for working age adults. My fellow trustees, we have been the stewards of this vision. Whether you have been here since the first day or joined us more recently, you should feel a deep sense of pride. Calbright is now a standard setter for delivering education and job skills training for adults with integrity, innovation, and heart. And as we transition from a launch and startup mindset into a scale mindset, the work ahead is about ensuring this house is built to last for decades, not just years. Challenges will still come in the next phase of building, and that is the nature of doing something that has never been done before. But I stand here today fully confident. Calbright has the infrastructure, we have the talent, and most importantly, we have the momentum to get there. I want to double down on that message. We work hard because we believe in the mission and the team behind it. So let's get to work. President Menon, I pass the microphone to you.
Thank you, President Alguinaldo, and good morning, members of the Board of Trustees. As we start this January and embark on a new year together, I actually wanted to first share why I'm so deeply honored to lead the Calbright team. Most of you know, every day, this incredible team of faculty, counselors, student support specialists, engineers and product managers, finance and operations as experts, and like so many more professionals come together and they're focused on a single mission. And that single mission is to reach working age adults who have been overlooked by traditional systems and are seeking to advance their education and job skills goals. That mission matters now more than ever as students turn to us daily to reskill, to upskill as they confront the realities they're experiencing in the labor market. While there's no doubt that there remains uncertainty at the federal levels around policy and the political landscape, and quite frankly, just uncertainty in the world that's around us right now, being able to lead a team that chooses Calbright's mission and serving our students is extraordinarily meaningful to me. So I wanted to start this board meeting of the year by first welcoming our new Board of Trustee member, Trustee Melgar, and also by thanking the team that I get to work with every day who keep our learners at the center of everything we do. My gratitude continues because, as many of you know, we received incredible news last Friday regarding Governor Newsom's proposed 2026-2027 state budget, which concludes a significant proposed investment in Calbright and in our future that reflects the critical role that we play in public higher education and workforce development landscape across California. Now, this is more than just a line item for us, more than a line item for the college and for the state. It's really a powerful recognition of the urgent need to support adult learners and build a more inclusive and future-ready workforce for local communities, regional economies, and statewide employers. We are deeply honored by the recognition that we've received in the proposed budget, and also from our supporters who are out there cheering us on and celebrating with us. Those are organizations like the Rural County Representatives of California, California Competes, Unite LA, the College Futures Foundation, just to name a few. This proposed investment is a true mark of pride for every member of the Calbright community, and also for education, workforce, and policy leaders who have known for years that there is a way to bring student success, innovation, and paths to economic mobility together in one model and under one roof that works for students. For the last year, we've spoken about the potential of our model and how we're bringing that into reality. And what we can say today with certainty is that there is an unequivocal need for what we do. We know our model works because we are expanding to exactly what adult learners need now. Not 5 decades ago, not a decade ago, not even 5 years ago, and not in a traditional format that does not fit their lives. By prioritizing innovative, flexible pathways that meet the needs of working age Californians, Alongside other critical and aligned investments, the administration is also sending a clear message. Every student, regardless of who they are, where they are, what in life they carry, they are valued and they have a rightful place in today's evolving labor market, and they have a pathway to economic mobility. Calbright plays a pivotal role in reaching those adult learners across California and getting them on the pathways that work with and for them. I'm also proud of what this investment says about the team we've built at Calbright. We've gathered a team that is as talented as it is dedicated to serving communities in every corner of our very diverse state. We understand the unique needs of our students because we see them, we know them. Most importantly, we listen to them and we understand them. The parents and caregivers that are balancing the future of their families with their own education, the people that are changing careers and pivoting after decades in a single field, and the Californians who have work experience but need that certificate to show they have a place and value in new tech-driven industries. I want to talk a little bit about a student that I know came to my attention is Ishwarya. Now, she turned to Calbright after taking a career break to raise her children, and she needed to update her technology and cybersecurity experience for the modern California job market, but without the barriers of traditional education and workforce development structures and schedules. Ishwarya is enthusiastic about cybersecurity, to say the least, and she talks a lot about how she loved the, quote, detective work she got to do years ago. And what she found in Calbright was a tangible, practical, hands-on learning experience that was exactly what she needed at this point in her life to update her skills. Her program and learning were enhanced by a paid micro-internship where she did work on a job security audit project through Calbright's Career Bridge program, which was an initiative with Calbright and the work-based platform Ripen that integrates paid work-based learning experiences into career support offerings for program completers. And Ishwarya's story also really demonstrates, once again, that our online environment doesn't preclude a vibrant student life, but in fact, for so many students, it's what makes it possible. She's expanding her capacity for leadership, volunteering with Calbright Student Government, the Associated Students of Calbright College, and is becoming its Commissioner of Academic Affairs. With students like Ishwarya and thousands more, we're securing the college's imprint on higher education and workforce development as a permanent, essential feature of what our state offers working adults. And we view this proposed budget investment not just as a vote of confidence, but as a mandate to scale our impact. Make no mistake, Calbright is ready for that next stage of growth in service of those who need us. We have the technology, we have the infrastructure, and most important, we have the talent at every level of the organization. Now, we will seek that investment from the state needed to continue the work for our current students and future students. We're ready to serve more communities, change more lives, and continue building the future of California's workforce. Now, whether as a trustee you have been with us from the beginning or you have joined more recently, you have played such an important part of our journey, both shaping and bearing witness to how we have built Calbright up and prepared for the opportunity that we now have. And now that we're ready to anchor Calbright beyond its startup phase and move into our next stage of growth. Moving forward, our priority is rigorous advocacy while we continue work in support of our learners, as we're going to demonstrate through data and through student success stories how we are ready to use every dollar to help our current and future learners reach their goals. We are committed to bridging that gap between talent and opportunity and ensuring for employers and Californians alike the path to higher education, job skills programs, and economic mobility is more accessible and relevant than ever before. This is a moment of incredible momentum, and we're ready to use this investment to show exactly how Calbright serves learners at the scale that California demands. So I wanted to especially thank this board for your commitment to our students, for continually sharing our story, for advocating for the model and the mission. It is because of your governance, your ambassadorship, and your counsel that Calbright holds the promise and the position that it has today. not only receiving the governor's report, but being ready to move into that next chapter of serving students. As we step into securing funding for our future, we have also begun looking across the next few years to examine how we can evolve our organization, its structure, its capabilities, to further scale, and then also to respond to the changing needs that we're going to experience across California. In the fall, we launched the start of organizational planning and capacity design work, which we'll seek to undertake over the next 12 to 18 months, meant to be a proactive step to ensure that Calbright is not just built for where we are here today, but engineered for where we are going over the next several years. In a moment, you'll receive a presentation and update on Calbright's organizational planning and capacity design work with the Academic Leadership Group. Our lead consultant, Jenny Stein, will present top-level findings for you. And my focus is going to be just on grounding you in why Calbright is engaging in organizational planning at this time and a vision for how we move beyond our startup period and into our future state. And the answer is actually a testament to our progress. You know, we're here largely because of the tremendous success and growth that we've experienced as an institution. And as many of you know, we experienced unprecedented growth in the first 6 months of 2025, a 66% enrollment growth in 2025 alone. We've issued nearly 2,000 certificates of completion, and we're seeing demand for our IT program, data analytics, project management, HR programs only growing. So we've grown past our startup moment and really are shifting our mindset from the startup mindset to more of a steady state contemplation. The organizational planning and design work is about ensuring that we're optimally designed for our lasting place in California's higher education and workforce development landscape. Importantly, the Academic Leadership Group brings expertise from academic, workforce, and also innovation contexts, as well as an objective perspective. So they've been able to provide specialized skills, proven methods to engage the organization in work that truly requires an external lens to be effective. I want to emphasize that while ALG is supporting us in developing that framework, the heart of this process is our people and how we build that next phase of service together. I'm thankful for all the faculty, staff, leadership that have stepped into challenging conversations, meaningful reflection, and really productive ideation during workshops, interviews, focus groups, and surveys. And just to keep in mind, this is the beginning. We are laying the foundation for our future capacity, and much more input will be part of the process in the coming months. As we talk about our future vision and the talent required to serve students, I also want to acknowledge Calbright's adjunct faculty who have let us know about their plans for organizing, and we'll be sharing some of that information with you today. We have notified the California Public Employees Relations Board, commonly known as PERB, that we don't oppose this action, and we look forward to welcoming adjunct faculty as represented employees pending action by PERB. We really value the faculty and staff members' voices, and our goal is to support and respect faculty and staff agency while aligning our shared mission for student success. We know it's the collaboration of the entire Calbright community, our leadership, our managers, our faculty, our staff, most importantly, our students, that has made Calbright the institution that we are today. The governor's proposed investment is a win for every part of the Calbright community, and it is also a call to action for us. We have hard work ahead this spring, and we know that hard things will come up, but our commitment to the mission will be unwavering. We know we'll be taking some deep breaths along the way. We know we will be taking long, hard strides together, but we've already shown what we can do over the past 7 years. So now is our time to go secure our future. And if we move forward collectively, staying steady and focused on our students, and focused on our excellence in delivering flexible education that California needs now, our case will be clear. Why our good work compels the legislature to invest in us and to invest in California's working age adults seeking education that works for them. Doing that, I have no doubt that we are going to succeed. Thank you, and this concludes my remarks.
Thank you very much, President Menon. Ordinarily, as part of my president's report, I would have read a summary of the executive committee meetings. For our new board member, we do have executive committee meetings in the month in between our full board meetings. But I'm going to dispense with that summary, and just to reiterate that all of our board members have the ability to look at the agenda and more materials from those meetings on our website. So I want us really, truly to sit in President Menon's words for this morning. So thank you very much for your remarks again. At this time, we'll be moving on to item 5.1, Academic Leadership Group, ALG, who will be presenting and updating on their recent review of the organizational structure of Calbright. And for that, I will pass it to President Menon and Jenny Stein, the founder and president of ALG.
Okay, I will just go ahead and turn things over.
Thank you so much, President Menon, and thank you, Chairman. I appreciate this opportunity to present some initial high-level findings of our work. And so let me go ahead and just make sure I can share. I have just a few slides to present to everyone. Is this visible?
Yes, it is.
Perfect. All right. Great. Well, I'm Jenny Stein. I am the president and founder of the Academic Leadership Group. We are a Cambridge, Massachusetts-based consultancy that focuses entirely on helping universities and colleges elevate their leadership and design their organizations. So today I'll provide an overview of what we think is a very exciting future state organizational design for Calbright College. Calbright, as you know, has achieved great success and growth through its startup phase. Our focus is what might the next 10 years or more look like? How might Calbright be organized to leverage its many strengths and also continue to grow and scale and perform beyond the startup period? So when we work with our clients, including Calbright, we build our solutions around the idea, the energy, and the vision that people in the organization share. We bring a lot of experience into these projects, but we really work with the organizations to find out where are their strengths, where are the opportunities that people in the organization see for that future state, and then really make that part of our solution going forward. So at Calbright, this meant a combination of workshops, focus groups, one-on-one interviews, and surveys that provided perspectives and inspirations from across the college. When we gathered this data, we were deeply impressed by the level of engagement and energy the Calbright community at all levels had toward finding a positive future vision that would ensure the college could do its very best work in service of the students and for the state of California. Our data gathering focused on what is working well and what might be improved in a future organization. And we gathered input from staff at all levels, faculty, leadership, and the board. Today, Calbright has many incredible strengths. It is adaptive, meaning that it can change and evolve. It is responsive to student and market needs, something that's quite unusual in any academic institution. Often curricula and programs are built and expected to stay in place for a decade or more. It's mission-driven. For the people of Calbright are there because they truly, truly care about Calbright and the communities it serves. And it's innovative. It's taking a unique and exciting approach to charting a path to how education will look like in the future. The future state offers a next level opportunity to build on these strengths and continue to grow and scale Calbright. Organizations, like people, go through stages of growth. From founder-led teams of 10, where the work gets done collectively, to organizations of 50, where policies and management start to play a larger role, to 200 plus, where there's a need for more structure to ensure communication and efficiency that are needed to scale. At approximately 184 people, Calbright has reached the time to facilitate that third stage of growth. It's time for greater role clarification and focus, for optimizing what it does well, for ensuring that everyone knows what they need to do their job well, and a structure that ensures collaboration will continue even as the organization grows. Our future design is built on 5 core functions. Educational excellence describes the academic and student success engine of the college. It includes the full spectrum of functions that ensure Calbright delivers high-quality learning experiences, supports students effectively through their educational journey, and achieves strong outcomes in persistence, completion, and employment. It encompasses instruction, student services, assessment, accreditation, compliance, and student records, driving mission-aligned academic quality and operational rigor. Product and innovation captures Calbright's innovation focus, advancing design, technology, data, and digital strategy to improve student learning, operational excellence, and organizational effectiveness. Administration and people describes the college's core administrative infrastructure, the overall health of its workforce, and systems that ensure that Calbright functions as an effective, equitable, and high-performing online institution. External relations and partnerships continues to strengthen Calbright's visibility, influence, and impact by cultivating strategic relationships across government, philanthropy, industry, and the broader California community colleges ecosystem, as well as nationally. It advances Calbright's mission by building alliances that expand student opportunity, elevate institutional reputation, and secure resources that fuel innovation and growth. And central to this model, there are going to be cross-enterprise functions, and cross-enterprise collaborative work is really core to how Calbright has been able to achieve its mission to date, and we wanted to make sure that that continues to grow and be supported going forward. So cross-enterprise functions describe the support in multiple areas in Calbright, for example, marketing, communication, and data and insights. These are critical to the design to ensure a high level of collaboration that's currently part of Calbright's culture and continues to drive its success. So some of the key features as detailed on the slides, some of the design parameters that we're working toward in this design is ensuring aligned priorities, clear metrics, and shared accountability, data-driven decision-making and institutional intelligence, strategic external relations and revenue-generating partnerships, and a culture of communication, motivation, and shared purpose. In terms of next steps, there's still many conversations to be had and more insight to be gained from the Calbright community. So the next steps will include engaging in detailed planning and organizational design to be realized over the next 12 to 18 months. So that's a very high-level view, but hopefully an inspirational one and definitely directional in terms of where we think Calbright can go and really build its future success by continuing to refine and enhance its organizational design and structure. So.
Great. Thank you very much, Jenny, for that presentation. May I ask if there are any board comments and questions? All right, Jenny, you had
Oh, sorry.
Trustee Melgar.
Sorry, Matt. I know, I'm jumping in late. I'm getting the hang of it still. Yeah, just curious, and you may have touched on this on the first few slides, but how often are we surveying the students themselves? Is there kind of like a regular feedback loop, so we're also getting consistent input from students?
So thank you, Jesse, for that question. Our focus is internal to Calbright, so I would defer to President Menon in terms of that. From the perspective of the organizational design, that is the data and insights, and it's already plays a very large part in the organization and one we'll continue to honor and grow.
Yeah, I would say it's actually built into our core operational processes. So we use a very human-centered design approach in the creation of everything that we do, and certainly in the way that we design interventions. So it is feedback is structurally from students is built into every part of our program development and improvement. Additionally, I think we have spent a lot of time and intentionality building student community at Calbright. And that is probably our most important pulse on what's happening with our students. So even the way our associated student government works, their goals and their focus for their time at Calbright and their contribution in those leadership positions is in service of supporting learners in that way. So, I meet with them myself regularly, also to get another direct source of input in addition to the way that we're looking at what's happening with students, from their direct feedback from design sessions or workshops, from focus group work that we do with them, and then also just directly looking at the data because we have a holistic view of each of our learners.
That's great. Yeah, and I was struck by, I think, the stat you cited in your report. We saw a 66% growth last year, which is huge. Kudos and congratulations. And I also think that brings in a new perspective of new students that we hadn't previously tapped. And so thinking about, like, what is the result and driver of that student population growth, and then how do we tap the experience and expertise of those new students in informing kind of design moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of things that go into that enrollment increase, but in part, I will say it is. I'm proud to say is driven by something we track internally is a net promoter score. So we get a lot of feedback from our current students and also alumni survey work that we do, and that gives us confidence because they would recommend Calbright to a friend. So that internal net promoter score means that students are having a good enough experience that they're telling others about it. And it may sound simple, but it is a really powerful demonstration of the value that they're getting from Calbright and the value from the way that they see it. And so we track a lot of things, but that's one of the things I think that has been really positive is that learners themselves think this is a good and quality experience for other learners, for others like them in their communities.
Great, thank you.
Trustee Haynes.
So, Jesse, one of my observations has been because of the design of Calbright and the use of technology, that it's not pocketed. It can spread much more quickly across an entire system, i.e. Calbright, and then continue to get feedback. And so my observations, that's the wonder and the beauty. Yeah. And just as a reminder, Calbright also has this research and redevelopment piece of it. And so as someone who is a 25-year plus trustee at Los Rios, which is one of the larger community colleges, and I'll use them as an example as opposed to anybody else, even if you had a singular, large, traditional college, yes, you're going to find pockets of innovation because those pockets will be driven by the students and the faculty and the network. But it ends up being isolated, even though we continue to want to work on how do we push this out. And that becomes the challenge. Yes, you can have pockets, but what we really need are infrastructures that when that person leaves, that can still blossom, it can still continue, and that just isn't always the case. And there may be some few exceptions to that, but there are 116 or 115 other colleges in which that's where the 2 million students sit. And that's what that's the promise part of how do we kind of push some of this information out to those who really are willing and wanting to do this kind of work.
Absolutely, and I think, I don't know if any of you read Jen Palka's book. It came out now in 2024. It's not just educational institutions, right? It's not just that part of our public infrastructure. It is also everybody who is engaged in service delivery.
That's right.
For the residents of their communities. And so I will just say that the key takeaways for me from a book like that and from the observations that many of us have, having worked in public sector for a really long time, is that that's where things usually fall down, is in the implementation, and not just the implementation, but how it is systemized across the interactions that an agency or an educational institution or a government function has with its people. And so there's a lot of great examples of really incredible work and leadership and stewardship in the public sector around this work, and I really believe we've tried to model and build a lot of what we do at Calbright with that in mind, right? Our responsibility as a public institution.
Member Correll, Trustee Correll.
Yeah, kind of building on those, I was curious about, it's such a strong element of future recruitment, but then also sustaining that community is almost like a community building aspect of it, right? Like how do we, and in your 5 pillars, I don't quite see anything particularly focused on the student community building component, which is so critical to the engagement and the success rate of this. And I know you care a lot about this, so I was curious if you could talk a little bit about where in the future state design you see that community building component. And then maybe just putting it out there, I wonder if it deserves its own function.
Yeah, so I actually would say it is embedded in every function, and that is critically important. The point that there is not a, quote, student services corner of the institution, but rather when we talk about what it takes to actually deliver student community, we understand that is the focus of what is built within the technology vertical alongside the partnership and engagement of the folks who are on the front lines of delivery of student learning and of student interventions and services. And so the call out is because it is that it's not a separate functional area, is because it is the core to everything that we build and do.
Great. Thank you very much to the board for that discussion. Terry, do we have any public comments?
There is no public comment.
Wonderful. Well, thank you to Jenny for presenting on that item. We will now move to closed session. We have 3 items. Item 2.1 is conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9D1, name of case Haley v. Online Community College District et al., case number 34-2021-00304381-CU-OE-GDS. Yes, I can. Item 2.2 is conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6, agency designated representative Wanda Daniel, employee organization, California School Employees Association. Item 2.3 is conference with labor negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6, agency designated representative Wanda Daniel, employee organization, Calbright Faculty Association. Is there any public comment on the closed session items?
There is no public comment.
Thank you very much, Terry. We expect to return from closed session in approximately 30 minutes. See you then. All right, everybody, welcome back. There is no report out of closed session. We will now move on to section 3 of the agenda. Do any trustees wish to remove an item from the consent agenda for discussion or separate vote? Okay, hearing none. Any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Thank you, Terry. May I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Correll and Trustee Williams. Terry, may I have the roll, please?
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Aye.
Adrian Brown.
Aye.
Lillian Corral.
Aye.
Amy Costa.
Aye.
Tom Epstein.
Aye.
Pam Haynes.
Aye.
Harry Legrand.
Aye.
Jesse Melgar.
Aye.
Jennifer Perry.
Aye.
Bill Rawlings.
Aye.
Joseph Williams.
Aye.
12 approve, 0 oppose.
Motion passes. Thank you very much, Terry. We're moving expediently to our action agenda. Item 4.1 is the Calbright Faculty Association Sunshine Items with the intent to begin collective bargaining in the spring. For that, I'll pass it to our General Counsel, Wanda Daniel.
Good morning, members of the board. This item presents a request to accept the initial proposal from the Calbright Faculty Association, which will allow us to begin negotiations for a successor agreement to the CFA collective bargaining agreement once Calbright submits its sunshine and intent to bargain. This item is to make the interests of the Calbright Faculty Association transparent and to allow for public comments. Under California law, all public education entities and unions are required to give notice to the public or sunshine their initial proposals as part of the collective bargaining process. This is to allow the public, to give the public notice of what is being negotiated and to allow input and transparency as to how public dollars are being utilized. The sunshine occurs prior to the parties coming to the bargaining table so that members of the public have a chance to review and comment on those items. In preparation for negotiation and enacting a successor agreement between the college and the CFA and pursuant to state law, Calbright and CFA hereby notifies residents of the state of California that they propose to negotiate on the articles that are mentioned in the attached documents. And with that, I will turn it over to Cindy Carney of CFA to make the proposal, to present the proposal.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, President Menyon and Board of Trustees. I am here today to present our official CFA Sunshine Notice. In accordance with the Educational Employment Relations Act, the following represents the Calbright Faculty Association's public notice and sunshine proposals for our upcoming successor agreement. Agreement bargaining. CFA intends to address Article 1, which is association recognition. We wish to modify language to include the part-time faculty instructors and counselors as part of the CFA bargaining unit. Article 4, working conditions, to clarify and improve language around working conditions, revisit language around reassigned time, counseling caseloads, and reviewing other contract language for accuracy and applicability, and also to update the current contract language accordingly. Article 5, salary placement, negotiate across the board increases for all bargaining unit members effective July 1st, 2026. Update the current contract language accordingly. Article 7, evaluation. Improve our language around evaluation, improve the evaluation process, and ensure evaluation is free of conflict of interest and inclusive of all faculty roles. In Article 10, benefits, update benefit article outlining benefits offered and contributions. Update the current contract language accordingly. So this has been submitted as a notice to the Board of Trustees for inclusion on January 14th, 2026. Thank you very much, the CFA bargaining team.
Staff recommends that the board accept the initial proposal allowing the Calbright Faculty Association and Calbright College to commence negotiations once Calbright sunshines their articles to negotiate. This concludes my remarks.
Thank you very much, Wanda. Any trustee discussion? Vice President Raleigh.
Just double checking, you may have just alluded to it. On the management side, are there any proposals that would be sunshining at this point?
Yes, management will propose their sunshine proposals in the coming, in the following meetings, but we don't have those yet.
Okay, thank you.
Member Haynes, Trustee Haynes.
I just want to move the agenda item.
Thank you very much. Trustee Haynes, may I have a second?
Second.
Great. Thank you, Trustee Williams. Any public comment?
You waited.
There is no public comment.
Great, thank you. Terry, if I may have the roll, please.
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Aye.
Adrienne Brown.
Aye.
Lillian Corral.
Aye.
Amy Costa.
Aye.
Tom Epstein. Tom is absent. Pam Haynes.
Aye.
Harry LeGrand.
Aye.
Jesse Melgard.
Aye.
Jennifer Perry.
Aye.
Bill Rawlings.
Aye.
And Joseph Williams.
Aye.
11 approve, 0 oppose.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. We'll go to action agenda item 4.2, public hearing and application for exemption for the 50% law. And for that, I welcome Ed Lee, our CFO.
Hi. Good morning, Board President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, Calbright President CEO Menon, and members of the board. My name is Ed Lee, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer at Calbright. I'm here to present the application for exemption for the 50% law. The 50% law requires each district to spend at least half of its current expense of education each fiscal year for salaries and benefits of classroom instructors. Districts may apply for an exemption with the California Community College's Chancellor's Office based on particular circumstances. During its startup phase, Calbright has been granted an exemption during this current season. As part of that process, guidance for the 24-25 year is filing of 2 exemption forms with the Chancellor's Office, CCFS 350A and CCFS 350B. At this point in time, the Calbright has filed both of these forms, but is seeking the approval of the board, as part of the process. Additionally, Calbright has also notified the Academic Senate and faculty representation and have completed the 30-day notice for a public hearing per Title V regulations. Additionally, just a little more detail here, Calbright has increased its current expense of education from 8% to 29% from the 23-24 year to 24-25 and continues to trend upwards. Based on an updated methodology of student-facing expenditures of its differentiated model, Calbright estimates 72% of its expenditures to be student-facing. Today, Calbright will be holding a public hearing on this topic and recommending that the Board of Trustees approve Calbright College's application for exemption from the 50% law. Just a procedural question on the public hearing.
I'll take care of that.
Will you take care of that,
Yes.
President? Okay. So yeah, why don't maybe we start with that, and then we can go to any comments or questions from the board.
That's exactly what we're going to do. At
Great.
this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Terry, are there any members of the public wishing to speak?
There is no public comment.
Thank you very much. So at this time, I'll close the public hearing. That was easy enough. Any discussion from our trustees? All right, hearing none, I have to ask again, is there any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Thank you, Terry. I'll take a motion in a second.
Second.
Trustee Perry and Vice President Rawlings. Terry, may I have the roll, please?
Hildegard Aguinaldo.
Aye.
Maria Blaze.
Aye.
Adrian Brown.
Aye.
Lillian Corral.
Aye.
Amy Costa.
Aye.
Tom Epstein.
Aye.
Pam Haynes.
Aye.
Harry LeGrand. Harry LeGrand. Harry is
Aye.
absent.
I
Oh,
no, I'm
oh, you're
here.
here.
I'm
Thank
had to
you,
get to the
Harry.
button.
Jesse Melgar.
Aye.
Jennifer Perry.
Aye.
Bill Rawlings.
Aye.
Joseph Williams.
Aye.
12 approve, 0 opposed, motion carries.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Terry. We are now moving to Section 5, Information and Reports. A lot of really juicy and interesting items under this section. So we'll move to 5.2, Staff Portal Update, Organizational Engine for Student Success. For that, I welcome Vivek Vyas, our Chief Product Officer.
Good morning, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, and members of the Board of Trustees. My name is Vivek Vyas, Chief Product Officer, Calbright College. In September of last year, we presented to this board an update on Student Journey 2.0. We also presented how the student portal is the vehicle of delivery of that student journey. But as we were working through the student portal and the student journey, the expanded student journey, we also understood that to deliver a full and a stellar student experience, we also needed to empower our staff and make that data visible. And so our staff is able to act on that data, the data that is being collected through this expanded student journey. And the result of that was the Calbright staff portal. The staff portal has been specifically built for the Calbright model. We have rolling terms, we have competency-based learning model, and so our students progress differently or at different rates based on the self-paced learning model. So it was important that we build the staff portal that fits the Calbright model rather than a traditional or a fixed model. And that's exactly how we designed the staff portal. And as our staff started to use these automated workflows, we started seeing the benefits of the staff portal. And these benefits have shown up in the form of reduced turnaround times. It has eased administrative burden. It has eliminated delays that directly impact our students and has therefore established the staff portal as an engine for student success. Now, before I provide a brief walkthrough of some of the screens and the select automation workflows, I'd like to underscore a key principle that we've used in developing the staff portal, or for that matter, the applications and the systems in the whole Calbright learning ecosystem. We are intentionally designing technology to support and amplify human judgment while reducing manual and administrative burden. Automation helps surface insights and streamlines workflows, while ownership of student support and outcomes remains with our staff. Human expertise provides the judgment, the empathy, and the context that technology cannot replace. This approach allows us to scale consistency and effectiveness while keeping people firmly at the center of our work. I'll now, provide a brief overview of the new staff portal, how it surfaces actionable data, streamlines coordination, and empowers our staff. So in selecting which workflows we should automate, we looked at what are the challenges that our staff is facing, what are the jobs that they're trying to accomplish on a day-to-day basis, and where there is friction. And so as we looked at those things, we prioritized workflows where there is high frequency, but also high friction. And so these were the areas where the staff was perhaps moving between systems or was relying on manual updates. These were the places where we felt the improved visibility and the automation would have the greatest impact. And so we built the counselor's dashboard. Counselors can go to this dashboard and they can not only see the caseload or the workload that they have, but they can also see all of the students that they have been assigned, and they can see the key attributes of each student at one glance. We built a powerful search engine so that staff can go and search for any student by their CCC ID or their email or any of those other attributes. Once they do that, they land on this page, which is the student record. This is where our staff does most of their work. And so when they get here, they see prominently displayed the needs of the student, needs like digital literacy or ELL status or their basic needs, as also the risk score that has been calculated with the algorithm that our team has developed so that it gives them an immediate idea about the needs of the student. They also see the status of the student, where they are relative to the timeline that they selected when they during the onboarding session. Our staff sees the important dates. They see the contact details of the student. And because we have kept data privacy in mind, we have created a role-based permission model. So this edit button that you see here, if their role permits them to do this, they can also update this data directly here in the staff portal, which keeps our data quality high and the student record accurate. The staff had to earlier piece together the enrollment history of the student from many sources, but now they can go to enrollment details and they see the full visual enrollment history of drops, withdrawals, re-enrollments, all in one place. They also see the student's timelines. What timeline did the student select? Was it changed? Who granted that request, etc. They can see what devices does the student currently have under the devices section. And if they get a request from a student for a new device, they can now simply click on a tracking number from within the staff portal, and that gives them the live update on where that device is in transit. And this has been created by our team by integrating the staff portal with the FedEx API so that they can get that information. Earlier, it used to, when the staff got those requests, they would have to go to IT and then ask them, and it took a lot of days. So it's shaved off a lot of time from those requests. They can take a look at student profile and edit it based on if the role permits. The intake assessment, which is an integral part of our Student Journey 2.0, is clearly visible here for transparency so that they can see how the risk score was calculated and optionally also see the exact intake assessment that the student submitted. They can also see credit for prior learning documents, what the status of those documents is, and that helps them answer any queries about the student's application status. We have created the dynamic journey map within in this staff portal as well. This is the same dynamic journey map that the student sees on the student portal. And it shows the milestones that the student has achieved, what competencies they have mastered, how much work remains to be done for the student to achieve their goals. And so this gives a complete picture to the staff of where the student is in their learning pathway. In the area of persistence, our persistence advisors used to spend a lot of time manually tracking students and calculating grace periods for any grace period requests. With the automated workflows now, and as you can see on the right-hand side, there's several workflows that have been automated. I'm just going to touch upon a few. So when they request a grace period request, they can simply click on Add Grace Period, and there's an algorithm that has been developed by our team which will calculate that grace period for them automatically. And now they can do, with a couple of clicks, what used to take them several hours with spreadsheets and the back and forth involved. And as soon as they submit, that grace period is updated on the student record. In the area of device handling, we faced a couple of challenges. One was around bad addresses. So maybe the student inadvertently supplied a bad address, or they moved. And the second was we didn't have a very good way of finding out if a incoming request for a device was a duplicate request. So a few times we would issue a duplicate device. With the device workflows now, when they get a request like that, they simply click on Order a New Device, and the system prompts them, first of all, to verify that address. And if they need to update that address, let's say the student has moved, or there's a new address, or a correction, they simply click on Edit. They can update the address directly in the staff portal. Not only that, there's an integrated engine now that the team has created which verifies that address as it's being entered so that we never enter a bad address into the student record. Once they have determined that it's not a duplicate request, they can select the device that the student has requested, hit Submit, and here's where the integration that our team has built between the staff portal and our device inventory and logistics management system fires automatically. It triggers that shipping request to the student, and the device is shipped out to the student. This, as opposed to before, where when they received a request like this, they would have to go to IT and ask them to create a manual request. And so this alone has shaved several days off of that whole process. And so we have much better SLAs on our devices, and the devices reach the student almost the next day or sometimes in a couple of days. So these are just a few select workflows that I've chosen to highlight. There are several in the staff portal, but the benefits that we are already seeing from these, as an example, we've seen our basic needs appointment rates go up substantially. We have our counselors able to easily spot high-risk students and intervene early, and it's enabling quick insight into the engagement with the student. It's improving transparency, And on the operational side, we're able to do better device inventory management and tracking, better SLAs on the devices, as I mentioned, and our data quality has become much better. So the address was one example. There are many other pieces of data which the staff has the ability now, based on their role, to directly edit and update in the system. But the overarching benefit that we're seeing across the system or across our staff is the amount of time saved. And we're saving a lot of hours across our team, time that was previously used in manual tracking and spreadsheets and the back and forth. With all these automations, they're able to use that time better towards personalizing that support for our students. But we're not stopping here. We have several enhancements that are already in development beyond what I just talked about. A notable feature is the activity stream. This is where we are building a widget where all of the communication with the student, whether it happens over SMS, email, telephone, will all be shown in one place. So they have the full communication history with the student, as also the appointment history with the student. What workshops are they attending? What has been scheduled for them? What did they miss? So it gives a full 360-degree picture to the staff immediately about the engagement with the student. We are adding program tags, such as the HubSpot one that you see here, which will tell them what partner programs are they participating in, such as work-based learning programs with our partners. We're adding tags like D&D or Do Not Disturb, which will tell them immediately if the student has opted out of optional communications so that they can act accordingly. We are also introducing a AI-powered chatbot in the staff portal. This chatbot will be used as a reference tool by our staff. When they get inquiries from the students, they will be able to look up an answer, and these answers are provided by the chatbot based on curated knowledge bases of Calbright by our own teams, so that it will not provide generic answers, but very pertinent answers. And if the answer is still not sufficient, the staff has the option of opening a support case directly from within that widget. We're also introducing banners so that our staff does not have to waste time finding out the status of external systems if they have some downtime, et cetera. And these will be displayed here in the banners so that they are always up to date on critical information. So these are some of the things that are already underway. And then we are also planning future enhancements beyond all of this. And in fact, since the time I prepared this presentation, some of these we're moving really rapidly. And so some of these have already gone to the next stage of analysis and design. So things like veteran student handling automation, prerequisite handling automation, integrations with several systems. What we're again doing here is we're prioritizing. What are the workflows that will have maximum impact and ROI for our staff in proceeding in that fashion? And then finally, I'd like to go back to my slides. Okay. And I just wanted to give this board a sense of the back-end plumbing that powers the staff portal, as also the broader set of applications supporting our student journey and all of our staff tools. Over the past 12 months alone, our engineering team has developed written over 30,000 lines of code that supports this infrastructure and forms that underpinning that runs all these applications, including the staff portal. And during this time, we have also put in place secure, reliable deployment pipelines and monitoring, so updates can be delivered smoothly and user experience remains stable and dependable. This work, I'd like to emphasize, is not about technical novelty. It is ultimately about continuity. It is about consistently empowering our staff with accurate data and effective tools so that they can focus on what matters most, which is providing an exceptional experience for our students. With that, I'd like to thank the board for their time, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Vivek. Any trustee discussion? Trustee Brown?
So I was playing with the demo tool you have here. It's really great. I have a question about the grace period. Is this a student-facing piece, or is this part of, if someone's having a conversation with a student, that they would input this grace period?
So the grace periods are requested by the students to our staff, but it has to go through a process of approval. So it typically comes in the form of a request to our student support team. And what this tool provides them is a fast and easy way, if they were to approve that, to be able to input that into the system. But the decision still lies with the student support staff, and so they still get that request from that student, but then they're able to quickly take the action that they need with this automation, as opposed to before, where they had to do a lot of manual work and then get back to the student.
Right, okay. So it looks really great to me. I just know that a lot of times with students who aren't completing, I see the things that are listed here, and the first two things are a major life event or challenges regarding basic needs. If this is student-facing, I would probably add in parentheses what some basic needs are, because that's kind of like our lingo. But usually it's going to be one of those top two things. And then I see things like program content difficulty, which could be, but 90% is going to be the first two categories. And it's a lot of times students are wrestling with thinking that it's a discipline issue when really they're having a capacity issue because of whatever's going on in their life. So I really appreciate the way that this tool was developed, and I can see how that can play out to really help people service students better. So
Yeah.
great work.
Thank you. Just to clarify, this is an internal tool, so this is staff-facing, but there is a student-facing interface where they can cite that reason, and then that triggers that conversation, and then the staff is able to take the action. But it is just to annotate on the approval of that request that this is the reason that has been provided and is being approved for.
Okay, that makes perfect sense.
And maybe just one more thing related to that, because I know you'll be interested in this, is the thing that's also significant, if you remember, is we're doing a whole track of work around basic needs work, and a lot of that has to do with how do we actually empower students to identify need to us. So both training and preparing frontline staff who are engaging with students around how to do that, and also having that direct communication with students in a way that is not that is empowering and that is not less than or shameful, is a part of what we're doing with a lot of the behavioral testing around the communications directly with students. So you can kind of see how these two pieces work together in order to really have a positive experience and to get ahead of some of the barriers and challenges that students encounter.
Wonderful. Trustee Perry?
And this is really great, and I think it's an exemplar of how Calbright works, the flexibility that's inherent. You see something needs to be changed, and it gets changed. You see a student need, you see a faculty need. I mean, it's that, right? That's that reflexive change that is so important and what makes the model stand out. So it's really nice that this demonstration really makes you see how that works and works well. So thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you, Vic. I'll just say one thing, which is oftentimes when we're talking about technology adoption and AI, you know, what is fantastical captures the imagination. So, you know, it is not the shiny avatars that is the most meaningful way in which this kind of work should be leveraged for our learners and our communities. It is most certainly this very unglamorous, unsexy work that is just so critical to changing that experience. And that idea of making sure that we're all continuing to keep humans at the center of it and humans in the loop in both what we consider, not just to adopt, but to build, becomes the really central question that we have put a stake in the ground around. This is not about random adoption of AI. This is not about a lot of the, quote, solutions that are being sold out there. This is about what do we as an institution need to have at the heart of what we do and what ownership we have over that data, that information, the way that this thing is built, in a way that makes sure that it is about enhancing the judgment of our students, the judgment of our staff, our faculty, and those who are involved in delivery. And so I know there are a lot of conversations about AI in higher ed. I'm having a lot of those conversations and invited into those conversations. And this is one of the most important things I think we have to all be keeping at the center of what we do, especially when we're trying to do it with public purpose.
True. We all might want an avatar, though. Right? Next meeting.
Trustee Haynes.
So I do have a question with regard to the student success counselors. And is there a sweet spot in terms of the assignment numbers that, like is it, for traditional community colleges, they're so outrageous that they can't hit them because they just sort of split and say, 800 per counselor. You'll never get to the 800 ever being touched by a single counselor. What might that look like for Calbright?
I think it's a great question, and I'm going to actually turn it on its head because I do think that that's important. At Calbright, one of the main things we do is we look at different things from different angles and different grain sizes. And why that is significant is because we are looking at the interactions that our counselors need to have, our staff need to have with our students, and what is most effective for the learner's progression. So that's the data that we want to consider, and the time implications of that data that should be connected to how we're driving student outcomes. So it's not as these aren't crude measures of the way that things are currently considered or calculated. So I'll say about that, I think there's a lot more to discover about that. And I think over time, because what we do and how we maximize the human connection and time that happens in an institution, that's what we want to be measuring better, and that's what we want to focus on insofar as it relates or drives the support and outcome for the learner itself, his or herself.
Thank you. And when I say that, I do know that there are certain pain points that can be identified just in how the design is set up and past history of the challenges that our students in this population may have. So I really appreciate staying on top of that piece of it as we grow. Where those are, and because there's still behind all of this tech a need for human connection. Anyway, thank you.
Well, thank you, trustees. Terry, any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Great, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you,
Thank you.
Vivek. Item 5.3 is the 2026 Legislative and Budget Update, and for that I welcome Jenny Johnson, our VP of Government Relations.
Good morning. Good morning, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, and Board of Trustees.
Jenny, is your mic on?
How's that?
There you go. Much better. Thank you.
You always get so nervous. I'm going to try that again. Good morning. Good morning, President Aguinaldo, Vice President Rawlings, and Board of Trustees. My name is Jenny Johnson. I'm the Vice President of Government Relations here at Calbright. Next slide. As President Menon shared, we are excited. A little nervous. This has been a long time coming. We are excited to be included in Governor Newsom's proposed 2026-27 budget as an increase in funding for the first time in our history. To get right to it, Governor Newsom's proposed budget includes an increase of $38.1 million Prop 98 general fund to support and provide stable funding for Calbright College and its base operations as it transitions out of its startup capacity. This increase would bring us to $53.1 million total funding with COLA. We are very proud to bring this news to you, and we want to thank Governor Newsom for his leadership and dedicated team who we've been working with for years, including Labor, CalHR, Department of Finance, Cabinet, Legislative, GoBiz, and many others, who have met with my team, Danny May Santiago and Jessica Howard. We are a team of three, our Chief Financial Officer, Ed Lee, and President Menon over the past years as we were building out the college and reporting back regularly with status updates. This investment in ongoing funding is a testament to all of the hard work and dedication from every team, faculty member, and staff here at Calbright. And a thank you to each of you who continue to champion Calbright's work through your leadership on this board, but also in your respective communities, talking about the work that we're doing, why it's important, why it's needed, and opportunities to collaborate. Many of you have reached out to me offline about, Jen, you should talk to this person, you need to talk to this person, and it's helpful because we have to leverage each other's partnerships and friendships and ideas because this is a pretty large state. And I just want you to know it doesn't go unnoticed. In providing this update, it's important to note that Governor Newsom acknowledged a budget deficit of $2.9 billion, and this budget deficit is considerably less than the Legislative Analyst Office assumptions. And I share this with you because we're still reviewing the governor's proposals in greater detail and preparing for both state, Senate, and Assembly budget subcommittee hearings in the coming weeks and months ahead. We'll be able to share more with you during the next phase of the budget process. This brings me to my next point. The Assembly and Senate will begin their budget subcommittee hearings very shortly and will be asked again to present and testify in both of the houses. As we have in years past, we will prepare and we will be ready. Simultaneously, from now until June, my team and I will be meeting with every member of the legislature in the coming weeks ahead. This afternoon, for example, President Menon and I are meeting with a state senator, followed by a meeting with the California Workforce Development Board. She will be with me again early next week to meet with the California Department of Human Resources, CalHR leadership about potential collaboration opportunities. Next slide. In the spirit of championing Calbright's work, I wanted to share that Calbright College will be hosting an educational briefing on February 4th at the California Endowment here in Sacramento. Dr. Sujin Jez, who I know all of you know from California Competes, will be leading a fireside chat with President Menon, reminding staffers of why we were created, how we started, where we are today, and where we're headed. This will be followed by a panel discussion led by Paul Fain, editor of WorkShift. And you may know Paul through his work as a longtime national higher ed reporter and his work highlighting Calbright's partnership with Ideas 42 in a national article last spring. Paul will be leading a roundtable discussion with some of our partners throughout the state, including Dr. Paul Granillo, the CEO of the Inland Empire Economic Partnership, Dr. Kate Mahar, Associate Vice President of Innovation and Strategic Initiatives with Shasta College, and Hortensia Armendariz, Healthcare Opportunities Director with SEIU, United Healthcare Workers. It's a great lineup, and we're really excited to host this convening. Special shout out to Jessica Howard on my team who is managing this event, and our impeccable marketing and communications colleagues driving the strategic outreach required of an event of this scale. So federal engagement. We are continuing to have conversations at the federal level, are in the process of working on our first federal appropriations request. While still in the early stages, I would be happy to provide additional updates in the coming weeks ahead, or coming months ahead. Regional and statewide engagement. Finally, regarding this engagement, I'd like to thank some of our supporters who've championed our work of late. More specifically, I'd like to acknowledge the rural counties representatives of California, Unite LA, the Inland Empire Economic Partnership, SEIU United Healthcare Workers, and the College Futures Foundation. When we recently contacted them to support us for an event, a quote, champion our work, or a request to brainstorm on an initiative, they now pick up the phone immediately and answer the email with a yes. And I share that with you because it's all started from scratch. Trust was earned. In summary, I hope that you take away that it is a very good time to be a part of the Calbright community. While we know the next few months will require continued dedication and a lot of hard work from every member of the team, to be in this position of securing and stabilizing funding for our students to scale our model and make Calbright's success more widely known, we're starting off January on an incredible path forward. And I'm available to answer any questions. Yay! I know, that was personal
indeed.
privilege.
Collective yay, yay. I welcome trustee discussion, or just yays.
Just a comment. So I know I've seen firsthand how impactful the outreach has been. So 2 years ago, before I joined the board, when President Menon and Jenny were swinging through the Inland Empire, we actually grabbed coffee because they wanted to meet with local leaders, and so serendipitous that I'm here a few years later. So just want to acknowledge the work that goes on behind the scenes that we may not always see. And Jenny and I had the pleasure of working together in the governor's office, so great to see her impact at Calbright.
Yay. Trustee Epstein.
I feel like we should be giving you a standing ovation.
Yes.
And all the folks that worked on this. And I just wanted to express my gratitude to the governor for his team for putting this
Hear,
in the
hear.
budget. It's a huge, embrace of the mission that we've been on for all these years, and it's very exciting. I did have a question about the federal activities that we're up to. Can you just give a very high-level description of what we're trying to accomplish?
Sure, and I'll kick it off, but then have President Menon elaborate. So we have been Arnold and Porter, our federal lobbyists in D.C., and we started out with preliminary meeting with members of the House, California to be more specific, and then we've tried to go more granular, meeting with specific. It started when it was the then Biden administration meeting with cabinet to update and see where there's opportunities for collaboration, but it really started as a informational setting about this is where we are, because we know Calbright isn't the only institution like us nationwide. How can we work with both sides of the aisle to build recognition and opportunities for future investment? And the last year we have been admittedly really focused on state budget, so we didn't get out as much last year, but we are planning to go out this spring. And one of the opportunities they presented, they said we'll continue to do an outreach campaign, but we work with community colleges nationally on this federal appropriations request, and given all the work you're leading, this might be the time to do it. So we made the decision that we're putting forth a couple proposals that we hope to be considered, starting small. There's different amounts in which to apply for, but we're starting at a more of a range of like $250,000, and we're currently focused on our community health care worker initiative. So I'm happy to share more details, but I'll tee it off to President Menon as well.
I'll maybe also add a little bit of context for what we think is the opportunity federally. One thing that has become clear in the course of the conversations that we've had over the past year, not just with the California delegation, but also with members on different committees, both in the House and the Senate, is that there is alignment around the need that we have as a country to ensure that regardless of what community you are in, you have access to relevant workforce education, right? The skills and the opportunities that are going to lead to improvements in your lives and in the lives of the communities. And I think, that becomes very important because of what we do, because we are a skills-based college. And the model that we have is a model unique to our particular learners that we serve here in California. Like, we have a unique brand on it, but it is consistent with a lot of the movement around skills-based education that is out there, and that's happening in red states and blue states. And there is recognition, I think, at the federal level amongst those folks that these are the institutions that are critical for the future of educating and preparing all Americans for what comes next, and to make sure that we retain our economic competitiveness. And so, those conversations we are going to continue to accelerate as well. And we don't do those conversations alone. I have the privilege of serving as a board member on the National Competency-Based Education Network Board. We are increasing our conversations with folks in other states who are similarly advocating for a future that is inclusive of what we believe our communities need most. And I think not just, our college, not just skills-based knowledge, but community colleges in general are going to be an important anchor and a place of agreement, I think, in terms of where investment should be focused, whether that's state or whether that's federal. And so I definitely want to talk about the leading edge of what we do here at Calbright, but I also want to think about it in the context of how we continue to advocate for community colleges here in California, but also nationwide. And I guess the short answer of that is we're likely going to be spending more time in DC in the coming years.
Trustee Haynes.
So I recognize that this organization, this institution, needs to stay lean and clean and fast and moving, all of those things all at one time. But I think the work that Calbright is doing, especially at the federal level, definitely at the state, but we're we're within this state, so we can kind of get a lot of that on our own. But it would be helpful if there are articles relative to this alignment of workforce competency-based that you could share, that can be shared with the board as a whole. It would be helpful. So I hate to add to the plate, but
No, I mean, there's a lot of great, kind of background materials around CBE. And also, I know that we don't like to think about what's happening in other states all the time, to look to what other states are
No,
doing.
but that's a good thing.
But I do
relative,
think that this is an important moment to look at what's happening in a variety of different states, because the other part that is also true, and I know you know this about California, is we are a microcosm of the country. So, I often say things like, the value of what we do statewide and the fact that we could index to different regional needs are because students in Compton may need to be served differently than students in Shasta. And we want to be at the ready to have models that are flexible enough to meet both needs. There are also hundreds of communities like Compton and hundreds
That's
of communities
right.
like Shasta all around the country.
they're
And so
models.
I think those connections and that context becomes very important in terms of what we can do in California next, and also how it really connects with so many other people out there in so many other parts of the countries. And, California is going to need to continue to be looked to a leader and can be leader. And I think with this college and with a number of the other investments that the governor has made over the past several years, we see that. We see California leading. And, we also see that we are not out there alone leading, that what we do in California has substantive connection to what other communities are seeking to do as well.
I think it's an excellent call out, Trustee Haynes, because we always try to think about like board education, especially like keeping our knowledge level about what's going on on a state basis, federal basis, top of mind. So we should put a pin on that and think about how that shows up in our future meetings. But great call out. Any other? Trustee Brown.
On that note, I think we also need to look globally, especially because our students are actually now competing with remote workers all over the planet. And so looking at what's going on globally is also going to be to our benefit. But my main comment I wanted to say is great work and congratulations to all of us, and yay. And thank you to the governor for having the mindset of keeping us at the front of this innovation and investing in what we know needs to happen in order to help prepare us for the future.
We absolutely need to celebrate this moment, and we do so with the temperance that we can't celebrate too early and too definitively. But I think we must acknowledge all the wonderful work that's gotten us to this point, and also this initial signal from the governor that this is really important to the future of the state of California. So. Great. Thank you, Jenny and team, for that excellent presentation. Let's move to item 5.4, reports on, just kidding, public comment. Terry, any public comment?
There is no public comment.
Great, thank you very much. Now on to item 5.4, reports on contracts and purchases. Ed, I'm going to cut you off right at the beginning to see if anybody has any questions about these contracts and purchases. All right, hearing none. Terry, do we have any public comments? Terry, do we have any public comments?
Apologize, there is no public comment.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ed, for your wonderful presentation. Okay, we move swiftly to constituency group reports. We do not have a report from the Calbright Academic Senate. We do not have a report from the Calbright Faculty Association, but we do have a report from Donna Howard and the California School Employees Association. Tongue twister there. Donna, I welcome you to the virtual podium.
Thank you. Good morning, respected Board of Trustees. Chapter 53 of CSEA is proud to announce our 2026 elected executive board. President Donna Howard was reelected with 83% of the vote. Vice President Mike Palmieri, Secretary Juana Munez, and Treasurer Karen Snow all ran unopposed. Additionally, Site Representative Crystal Maldonado has been reappointed for 2026. In addition, we are also initiating a social engagement coordinator position in order to address morale. We thought it might be helpful to point out our prospective roles that CSEA union leadership plays in contrast to Calbright administration. In light of the possible workforce reductions at Calbright Community College, we recognize the importance of addressing fragmentation and polarization within our community. We do not believe that developing coalitions solely aimed at defeating or undermining one another is the answer. Instead, we acknowledge that Calbright's future is filled with complex challenges characterized by diverse perspectives and conflicts among key stakeholders. To address these challenges, we are adopting an approach known as stretch collaboration. This method encourages us to move beyond a narrow focus on collective goals and harmony and embrace both conflict and connection within our teams and beyond. Rather than insisting on clear agreements about problem solutions and plans, stretch collaboration invites us to systematically experiment with different perspectives and possibilities. We are committed to shifting our focus from trying to change others to fully engaging in our own actions and being willing to change ourselves. During negotiations with the college, stretch collaboration will be leveraged by CSEA union leaders to foster a more open, constructive dialogue. This approach encourages both parties to move beyond confrontational tactics and embrace a shared exploration of the challenges ahead. By integrating diverse perspectives and creative solutions, union leaders can advocate for measures that not only protect the interest of classified staff, but also align with the college's strategic goals. Stretch collaboration allows for a process where both the union and administration can experiment with various scenarios and outcomes, ultimately leading to more thoughtful and equitable solutions that benefit the entire Calbright community. CSEA union leaders advocate for employees within the college. They represent the interests of the classified staff working to secure fair wages, benefits, and improved working conditions. Central to our responsibility is negotiation. We engage in collective bargaining with the administration to establish contracts that reflect the needs and concerns of our members. This includes negotiation the reduction of workforce as it relates to classified employee positions. Communication is another key aspect of our role. As union leaders, we serve as the representatives and liaisons between employees and administration. Additionally, union leaders provide support and training to help members navigate workplace challenges and foster professional development among staff. We are already planning on how to take a more strategic role in assisting our members find new employment opportunities. Conflict resolution is another significant responsibility, and we work diligently to address grievances and unresolved issues that arise between employees and administration. On the other hand, California Community College administration bears the responsibility of policy implementation. Administrators ensure that college policies and procedures align with educational goals and comply with state regulations. They provide strategic leadership and vision for the institution, making decisions that affect its overall direction and sustainability. Resource management is also crucial. As administrators effectively allocate budgets to support various programs, faculty, and student services, compliance and accountability are integral, with administrators ensuring adherence to state and federal regulations while maintaining accountability for the college's performance. It's also important to remember that the grievance policy is a tool when transparency is lacking and communication fails due to insufficient collaboration. Utilizing the grievance process helps ensure that concerns are formally acknowledged and addressed, reinforcing the importance of open lines of communication between CSEA leaders and administration. particularly during challenging times. CSEA is committed to only using this tool when all other collaboration strategies have failed. In summary, while CSEA union leaders' responsibilities are to focus on advocating for the rights and well-being of the classified staff, Calbright administration centers on strategic leadership and policy implementation. Both roles are essential and serve distinct functions within the institution, ultimately aimed at supporting the overall mission of Calbright. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to working together to address the challenges ahead.
Thank you very much for your report, Donna. Let's move to item 6.4, Associated Students of Calbright College. Christopher Perez is presenting on behalf of Cole Kindred, the newly elected president. So congratulations to Cole vis-a-vis Christopher.
There we go. Good morning, President Menon, Board President Aguinaldo, Board Vice President Rawling, and the Board of Trustees. Like was mentioned, my name is Chris Perez, and I serve as the Student Engagement Specialist here with the Department of Student Life and Alumni Relations, and I am here to present the ASCC Constituent Report on behalf of Cole Kindred. My name is Cole Kindred, and I am honored to introduce myself as the 2026 Associated Students of Calbright College President. I am grateful for the trust that the Calbright student body has placed in me, and I am committed to serving with transparency, collaboration, and a student-focused mindset throughout my term. This month has been dedicated to establishing strong working relationships with our newly appointed ASCC officers, as well as collaborating closely with our advisors, former ASCC leadership, and Calbright staff. Together, we are aligning expectations, clarifying roles, and building a shared vision for the year ahead. Our priority remains simple and steadfast: to advocate for student needs and create opportunities that elevate the Calbright experience. Our student engagement plan will continue to build upon the strong foundation laid by previous ASCC leadership. We intend not only to maintain key engagement initiatives, but also to explore new approaches that reflect the evolving needs of our diverse statewide student body. Preserving what worked, improving where needed, and innovating where students are asking for more will guide our strategy in the coming months. I look forward to sharing our progress with you through monthly constituency reports, providing updates that highlight our milestones, projects, conversations, and student feedback as we move forward. Thank you for your continued support of student leadership and its role in shaping the future of Calbright College. Now we'll conclude my report.
Thank you very much, Christopher, and to Cole.
Madam President, I have a question. A spy has told me that I did not have a vote recorded during this meeting, and I wanted to ask Terry if there was a vote where I wasn't recorded.
There was a vote. I was getting to that after public forum, but we could do it right now. Trustee Epstein, would you like to vote on item 4.1?
Yes. I'd like to vote yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for that clarity. Terry, is that reflected in the records?
Yes, it is, President Aguinaldo.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think the motion still passes. Thank you very much for the clarity. Okay, item 7.1 is the public forum. Are there any members of the public who wish to be heard?
There is no public comment.
Great, thank you very much. The business of the Board of Trustees is now complete and we can adjourn. It is 11:54. Thank you for your participation.